Did you know there's a name that strikes fear into its enemies and that never lost a single battle? The very same name that was bestowed with the title Sword of Allah, and who stood by Prophet Muhammad while leading the forces of Medina, the great city of Saudi Arabia, during his reign. Stick around to discover the story of Khalid ibn al-Walid, the unstoppable warrior still honored today for his contributions to the early Muslim conquests. Khalid was born 26 years before the Hijra, 584 CE, near the city of Mecca, in a time marked by tensions and conflicts. Though he was from the Quraysh clan, the same tribe as Prophet Muhammad, Khalid's father was the leader of the Ban Makhzum, one of the most prestigious and influential families within the tribe. From a young age, Khalid distinguished himself for his combat skills and bravery on the battlefield. He learned to handle various weapons such as the sword, bow and spear, both on horseback and on foot, showing a particular flair for the spear. His father directly oversaw Khalid's education, focusing on instilling the virtues highly valued by Arabs, such as fighting prowess and perseverance. However, it was precisely due to his father's views on Muhammad's growing Islamic movement that Khalid initially opposed the teachings of Islam. In fact, along with his family, Khalid was a fierce opponent of Prophet Muhammad and actively participated in campaigns against the early Muslims. It was during the famous Battle of Uhud, in the 3rd year of the Hijra, when Khalid truly made his mark. Leading the forces of Mecca, he exploited a strategic opportunity and led his army to a decisive victory over the early Muslim forces. But as often happens with the great figures of history, fate had different plans for Khalid, as we will see next. Sometimes, life takes unexpected turns, and Khalid was no exception to experiencing one of those radical shifts. After the signing of the Treaty of Hudaybiyah in the 6th year of the Hijra, which established a truce between the Quraysh and the Muslims, Khalid began to look at Islam with a new perspective. While historians are not in complete agreement on the exact date, the most credible accounts suggest that Khalid's conversion took place on the 1st of Safar, the 2nd month of the Islamic lunar calendar, in the 8th year of the Hijra, shortly before the conquest of Mecca. But here's something you may not guess. Why did he decide to become the most steadfast defender of Islam? Some reports suggest Khalid began to question his lifestyle and beliefs. It's even said that he had a symbolic dream that led him to reflect deeply on the path he had taken. This happened after receiving a letter from his brother Walid, who was already a Muslim, that sowed doubt in Khalid's mind, all orchestrated by Prophet Muhammad, who believed there was something good in Khalid, something capable of understanding the truth of Islam. Slowly, Khalid felt the need to meet Prophet Muhammad and seek clarity for his spirit. When he did, he was greeted with surprising kindness and praise for his intellectual qualities. After reciting the declaration of faith, Khalid asked the Prophet to pray for his forgiveness. The Prophet replied that there was no need for that, for by accepting Islam, all previous sins are forgiven, marking a true rebirth. A rebirth that would lead him to give his life to defend the honor of spreading Allah's word across the world. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to avoid missing out on more stories about remarkable figures from Islamic history. Let us know in the comments which other historical figures you'd like to see covered. The comment with the most likes might just be the next character we feature. From this point on, every battle, every victory, and every military achievement solidified his legendary status. It's no coincidence that he was called the Sword of Allah, as he played a key role in the expansion of the Islamic State. In fact, this title was given to him by Prophet Muhammad himself when Khalid was appointed commander. However, it wasn't until after the Prophet's death that Khalid truly demonstrated his worth. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy. We're talking about the Rita Wars, which took place after the Prophet's death, when several Arab tribes rebelled against the new Muslim authority led by Abu Bakr, who became the first caliph of Islam. It was during this time that Khalid was tasked with leading a formidable army and sent into the heart of Arabia, where the most powerful tribes posed a serious threat to Medina. First, he faced Tulayha, a rebellious leader in the Battle of Buzaka. Khalid's ingenuity was decisive, and he secured a victory that ensured the rebels' conversion to Islam. Then came the Battle of Yamama, an epic confrontation against Musaylima, a false prophet leading a massive army. The result? Khalid emerged victorious, and the rebellion was crushed. Khalid employed audacious strategies, attacking at unexpected times and consistently tipping the scales in his favor. This is why there was no enemy that could stand against him. But as you'll be surprised to learn, this was just the beginning. Khalid's accomplishments didn't stop in Arabia. Once the Arabian Peninsula was under control, it was time to look beyond. That's when Khalid led the Muslim forces against two of the most powerful empires of the time, the Sassanid Empire in Persia and the Byzantine Empire in Syria. First, let's talk about the Battle of the Chains in Iraq. Here, Khalid defeated a small Sassanid army. Then, in the Battle of the River, he faced a combined army of Sassanids and allied Arabs, and once again, Khalid was victorious. So do you think Khalid stopped there? Not at all. Khalid continued with the Battle of Ulais, facing a much larger army, and once again emerged victorious, capturing his enemies for the caliphate he served. Then, in the Battle of Muzayya, he displayed his tactical brilliance by executing one of the most complicated strategies in military history: simultaneous attacks from 3 fronts, carried out during the night. However, if there's one battle that defined Khalid's greatness as a strategist, it was undoubtedly the Battle of Yarmuk, and that's what we'll discuss next. To understand this battle, we must go back to the year 634 CE. The Byzantine forces greatly outnumbered the Muslims, but they had one disadvantage: tension among their leaders, which would influence the outcome later on. But what Khalid did was nothing short of brilliant, reminding everyone why he was known as the Sword of Allah. The warrior skillfully organized his troops, took advantage of the terrain, and used a war of attrition to wear down the Byzantine forces. The battle was balanced until the Muslims feigned a retreat, luring part of the Byzantine army to chase them into uneven terrain, where they set up an ambush. When the Muslim counterattack came, the Byzantine cavalry was separated from their infantry, giving Khalid the chance to unleash a massacre with his Muslim cavalry among the foot soldiers. And so, after days of fierce fighting, the Muslims, led by Khalid, achieved one of the most astonishing victories of their time. In fact, this defeat would prove catastrophic for the Byzantine Empire, as it marked the loss of their control over Syria. Unlike his enemies, Khalid ibn al-Walid never suffered a defeat. It is even said that, in his final days, he was looking for death on the battlefield, to which his friend replied that it was impossible for him to die in battle. After all, as the Sword of Allah, no enemy could harm him. With all his accomplishments and the respect he earned from friends and foes alike, you might think Khalid was honored throughout his life, but nothing could be further from the truth. Despite his victories and loyalty, Khalid was removed from his command by Caliph Umar for a reason that will make you wonder whether it was fair or not. Some believe it was due to the immense power and influence he had gained. Others think it was because of his autonomous and steadfast leadership style. Khalid, the undefeated warrior, was sidelined, and over time he retired from public life. He passed away in the 21st year of the Hijrah, 642 CE, during a time of peace, far from the battlefield he had so dearly loved. As I've mentioned, on his deathbed, he lamented not having fallen in battle, but even today, he's remembered as though he were still on the front lines. Khalid ibn al-Walid is still honored today as one of the greatest generals in history. His strategic brilliance and bravery earned him the respect of both allies and adversaries. His life is a lesson in loyalty, perseverance, and determination, and his victories helped lay the foundation for the Islamic Empire that would change the course of history. If this story of courage and leadership impressed you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to discover more incredible stories like this one. Leave a comment with your thoughts on Khalid and let us know if you'd like to learn about other great figures from the history of our faith. Remember, legends never die, especially when we keep them alive through stories like these.